Vishwash Kumar Ramesh and his brother are ready to board their flight. The temperature is pushing 37 degrees Celsius. This Boeing 787 bound for Gatwick Airport is supposed to take them home to London. Vishwash Kumar sits down in seat 11A. His brother is across the aisle in 11J. At this point, of course, neither of them knows what's about to happen. Shortly after takeoff, both engines fail. The aircraft loses altitude and crashes into a compound. 241 people on board are killed. 19 more die on the ground. Only one passenger survives. It's Vishwash Kumar. His brother doesn't make it. The images go viral. It's a sole survivor just leaving the crash site on his feet.
The passenger in seat 11A lived to tell a tale about what had happened.
The passenger in seat 11A lived to tell a tale about what had happened.
What was the situation yesterday? Can you describe for us, please?
I can't explain. Everything happened in my eye. I can't.
Vishwa Kumar is not the only one. Time and again, there have been horrible plane crashes that only a handful of people survived. In this video, we'll look at those deadly tragedies and at the people who somehow made it out alive. The Air India disaster with only one survivor, a jumbo jet that slammed into a mountain, a girl who fell from the sky in a plane exploding into a gigantic fireball. Were those who walked away just incredibly lucky, or is there something they all had in common, and what would really help you in the extremely rare event of a plane crash? This video deals with catastrophic accidents, but overall, flying has become extremely safe. The investigation into the Air India Flight 171 crash is still in progress, but there's a preliminary report that helps us better understand what most likely happened. When the plane starts losing altitude, it first strikes several trees. Then, only 32 seconds after takeoff, it crashes into a compound. Doctors and medical students working at a local hospital. On impact, the nose of the aircraft is slightly pitched upward. The tail section is sheared off at the edge of the first building. The rest of the fuselage keeps thrusting forward, tearing through walls and ceilings with devastating force. First, the right wing breaks off. The aircraft then slams into the next building, causing the left wing to come off as well. The wings in this part of the fuselage carry the fuel tanks. Vishwash Kumar is seated just ahead of that entire section. Evidence suggests the fuselage may have fragmented again, separating him even further from the wings. Being seated by the window and being separated from the wings and fuel tanks may have slightly increased Vishwash Kumar's chances of survival. This way, seat was not exposed to the gigantic fireball that occurred upon impact. In interviews following the crash, Vishwas Kumar said he escaped from the wreckage through an opening next to him. It's unclear whether that opening was caused by a rupture in the fuselage, or whether the emergency exit door had been blown off. Vishwash Kumar was the only survivor. He left the crash site on his own feet with only minor injuries. But one extraordinary case is not enough to draw any real conclusions. TOE started looking for patterns. These are all the major commercial aviation accidents we could find since 1970 that only had 1 to 5 survivors. The larger the circle, the more passengers were on board. Third dots represent survivors. This is the deadliest single aircraft disaster in history. Japan Airlines Flight 123, and this is Air India Flight 171. That single is Vishwash Kumar. Our research was in part inspired by a similar data analysis conducted by Reuters. The news agency reviewed 1,400 commercial aviation accidents and found 45 cases where only 1 to 5 people survived. For 20 of them, they could even identify the survivors' seat numbers or approximate seating locations. So, does where you sit on a plane affect your chances of survival? Vishwash Kumar was seated here in the front section of the aircraft. Of all known survivors from major plane crashes in the last 55 years, 14 were seated here. 19 of them were seated in the rear sections of their respective planes. So were Yumi Uchiai and 3 other female passengers on Japan Airlines flight TO1723. The Boeing 747 is en route from Tokyo to Osaka. The flight is completely booked, with a total of 524 people on board. It's the day before a major 3-day holiday season in Japan. Many passengers are flying home to see their families, including Yumi. She's actually a flight attendant at Japan Airlines, but today she's off duty and traveling as a regular passenger. She's seated in row 56 and casually flipping through a magazine. Then she hears a loud bang. The cabin pressure drops. Oxygen masks fall from the ceiling. A large part of the jet's 10-meter tail fin has broken off. It will later be revealed that the plane's so-called pressure bulkhead was not repaired properly after a hard landing 7 years prior. Now that part breaks into several pieces and destroys critical control systems. From that moment on, the pilot can no longer control the plane. It starts climbing and descending on its own, while simultaneously rolling and yawing from side to side. Yumi gets up from her seat. She's trained for this and knows how to assist the crew. She shows passengers how to put on their oxygen masks and life vests, and how to brace for a potential impact. Many begin writing farewell notes to their loved ones. The flight attendants try to calm everyone down. 44 minutes after takeoff and 30 minutes after the initial bang, the nightmare comes to an end. Yumi is strapped back into her seat and assumes a brace position. TA, right wing, and one of the engines strike a tree. The plane rolls over onto its back and slams into a mountain ridge. The crash site is here, deep in a remote mountain range in Gunma Prefecture. The rescue teams don't arrive until 15 hours later. Trees and wreckage parts are still smoldering. Medics comb through what is left of the aircraft. Mi will later say, the screams of many other survivors kept her awake all night, but at some point, most of them went quiet. To this day, it's unclear how many people had initially survived the crash. Experts think it's very likely that many more could have been saved if they didn't have to lie there all night, injured, out in the crash. Experts think it's very likely that many more could have been saved if they didn't have to lie there all night, out in the cold. It will later turn out Japanese authorities waited until the next morning to launch an extensive rescue mission. They simply assumed that no one had survived the crash. Apart from Yumi Oshai, 1 other woman and 2 girls survive. 520 people die. All 4 survivors were seated back here in the rear section. The tail section has the horizontal stabilizer and the massive tail fin attached to it. That makes it a very solid structure. According to a data analysis published by Time magazine, the middle seats in the rear section have the highest survival rates, but the differences across cabin areas were marginal, and the researchers only looked at a limited number of crashes. The front section of the aircraft can also act as a crumple zone and absorbs part of the impact's kinetic energy. Experts told us the odds of survival also depend heavily on how the plane hits the ground. That is, if it comes down in one piece. This is Julianne Keiki. She is 17 years old and goes to school in Lima, Peru. Her parents are renowned biologists at a remote research station in the Amazon rainforest. It's Christmas. The night before, Julianne attended her end-of-school prom and graduation party. Her mother had flown in for the occasion. The two are eager to get back to her father so they can at least spend New Year's together. The research station is located deep in the jungle. First, they have to fly to Pok-El-Pa from there. It's several days by boat. All flights from Lima to Pucallpa are fully booked, except one. It's a flight 508. Julianne and her mother hesitate. Her father explicitly warned them about Lanza. The airline was only founded a few years prior and already lost 2 aircrafts in crashes. Leaving Lima the day before was not an option though. Julianne didn't want to miss prom night. As the two end, boarding a Lockheed L-11 Electra. Julianne sits in seat 19F in the second to last row. The plane takes off. Christmas. The mood on board is festive. The flight is scheduled to be only 1 hour. It's 20 minutes in. The crew starts serving breakfast. Julianne looks out of the window at the rainforest below. Then the plane starts shaking. A massive wall of clouds is building ahead of them. This time is completely different from anything I have ever experienced.
This time is completely different from anything I've ever experienced. The pilot doesn't go around the storm, but flies straight into hell. The world outside turns dark in the middle of the day. Bolts of lightning keep flashing all around us. At the same time, an invisible force starts shaking the plane like a small toy.
Luggage flies through the cabin as passengers scream and cry. Julianne will later say she saw a gleaming white light above the wing. Then the aircraft starts plummeting towards the ground. At around 3,000 meters, it breaks apart. Julianne is ejected towards the ground. She is still strapped to her seat.
The next thing I remember is hanging with my head down, while the jungle approaches me in slow circular motions. But it's not the jungle that's coming toward me. I am the one moving toward it. The treetops are grass green and dense, and they remind me of broccoli heads. The images are blurry. I see everything as if through a veil. Then darkness surrounds me again.
Whenever a plane crashes somewhere on the planet, it draws a lot of attention. Horror news and spectacular survival stories are the ones that stick the most. It's easy to forget that everyday life is full of much greater risks. Things like smoking, driving a car, or being struck by lightning. Maybe there's a simple reason we're so conscious about flying and so captivated by these disaster stories. Maybe we still can't quite wrap our heads around the fact that these gigantic bursts of steel can't actually lift off the ground.